funny and investment banking might not be the obvious mix that you typically hear, just because investment banking is serious and prestigious and serious things can't be funny. But at the end of the day, IB is a lifestyle. It was a part of my life as a career, so things involved in it, there were funny moments. Many of these moments in reflection are funny, but in the heat of the moment might have not been very funny because I also had this serious professional mentality. But now that I think about it, they're actually pretty damn funny. I have 3 stories to share from my interviewing pre-investment banking phase, but it relates to investment banking, and 2 during my investment banking career. When I was a freshman, I was invited / I applied and got into this JP Morgan program. I was sitting at this table with a bunch of what I would describe intense banking people that are not soft, if you know what descriptor word I'm trying to not say. They were all talking about how much they love JP Morgan, love investment banking, asking each other what financial models that they were working on. They're talking about this guy over and over again named Jamie Dimon. No idea who that is. Eventually found out that he was the big boss, the top man of JP Morgan. I probably should have known who that was. The tone's already set. I'm kind of clearly seen as this outsider. No idea. Probably should be lucky to be here. They're still interacting. I think I'm relatively social, so we're having fun, but I think in the back of their mind, they're thinking, this kid's not gonna make it. He's never gonna become investment banker. The head, and I was at the Dallas office at the time, the head of the Dallas office comes in and she's asking for questions, and people are asking about models, where the industry's headed, what JP Morgan's focusing on, where the market's gonna come back from the devastating times of '08, and what the forward projections are of the company. And I really have to go to the bathroom. I am still a freshman in college. I recently graduated high school. I'm also not the most professional person at this point. I don't know what got to me. I think part of it was wanting the attention, part of it was trying to be funny. But at the same time, this was not a place to be funny, but I also just really had to go. But there was no easy way to get up and suddenly leave because all the attention was on her, and I was relatively within the crowd. So it's like a giant conference room, and I'm in the place that's closer to it. And if I got up and left the room, everyone would see. And it's this environment, then no one is leaving. But I gotta go. So as she's taking questions, I raise my hand and I go blank. I actually forget her first name, but I also don't want to use her name in this relatively terrible story. And she goes, yeah, you over there in the front. And she sees my name tag. She goes, Brian. And I go, I really need to go to the bathroom. She, as a industry veteran, very professional person, handles this very professionally and just goes, please go right ahead. Room erupts into laughter. I kind of look around. There's a couple of VPs looking very uncomfortable, definitely thinking that kid needs to get out of here. I was like, I do need to get out of here. I ran out, came back in. At the time, I felt fine. I think 3 weeks later, I realized that was a terrible move. But now, 6 years later, it's something I could tell my kids and my 17,000 online friends. Second story is kind of short. I was preparing for sales and trading interviews because I was debating between sales and trading and investment banking. I got to a super day that I was super last minute invited to, and I didn't have enough time to prep. I was focusing more on the technical side of investment banking, not sales and trading, so I didn't know the technical interview of sales and trading. I had maybe 5 hours to prepare, so I didn't know anything about sales and trading, but I was sweating balls and super nervous because I didn't know anything. My mentality was, let's just wing it, and if I embarrass myself, whatever. But I lost sleep over it, studying in the plane, studying in the Uber, studying in the lobby, get into the interview. Things actually relatively go smoothly, and there's this final technical interview. Guy looks super intense. He's about to ask me questions. He looks at my resume. He goes, oh, you went to a liberal arts school? I go, yeah, I'm going there right now. His response is, oh, well, then you probably don't know jack beep about technical questions. And I was about to say, no, I actually prepared, but then I swallowed it and realized maybe this is gonna go exactly the way that I want it to go. And I go, yeah, I go to liberal arts school. I'm deep involved in the arts that are liberal. And he's like, all right, then let's just talk about your school experience. So the entire technical interview was skipped. And I remember I prepared so hard for those 5 hours, and I was super nervous and scared going into it. Moral of that story is, if an interviewer wants to talk about something else, just talk about the something else. You don't need to show off what you've actively prepared for. What would you rather have? An interview that you prepped super hard for, you get asked all the hard questions, and then you don't get the offer? Or an interview that you super kind of hard prep for, but then they ask you about your favorite football team, and then you get the offer. This third and last interview-related, banking-related story is, I was at a super day, and the first 2 super day interviews were great. They were very nice people. We were talking about me, mostly me, why IB for me, who I am, very me-centered questions, behaviorals, and this guy comes in, super tall, super scary, kind of glaring down, and I instantly realized, at this point I was a junior, I knew people, better. I was highly missed the interview process, so I knew what interviews were like. I had an instant feeling, oh, this is the bad cop. This is the guy that's trying to test me how I could do under pressure. He sits down, no introduction, and he goes, what's 6 cubed? And then I instantly go, 216. Because I was deeply immersed in banking, brain teaser, and math preparation, I knew all the triples for whatever reason. And then he gave me this piece of paper and there was a PowerPoint slide and he wanted me to pick out errors on the page. This is the attention to detail part of the interview, I guess, mixed with brain teasers. And he just gives me the paper and there's no pen. And I ask him, can I get a pen? And he throws a pen at me. This is not to put him under fire. He was a genuinely nice guy. He laughed at the end of the interview. I think he was also nervous. He was definitely an analyst, and I think he was told to kind of be relatively intimidating, but he wasn't actually an intimidating person, and this throwing thing was a reflex, just to be sure he was not a bad person. So he kind of gently threw it at me, not like chucked it, but threw it at me, and I was looking down at the paper, and I'm a very unathletic person, but I caught it. And then there was like a silence in the room, and then he just started laughing because he couldn't hold it together. And then he just kind of went, hey, you're doing great. Sorry about that. And then I marked all the errors on the page, and the rest is history. Felt super cool. It was like a very movie, like, oh, let me look at this. And then I caught the pen. I looked directly at him at the eye, and I was like, yo, I caught your pen. Give me that offer. Remaining 2 stories. While I was in banking, probably the most embarrassing moment of my professional career. One of the clients we were working with happened to have a CEO named Brian, spelling the same. My MD emailed the team, everyone, including us, them, private equity, whatever, entire squad. Hey, Brian, what is your schedule next week? I got super excited. I thought, why is this MD asking for my schedule? Is what I should have thought. But instead, I just read, Brian, what is your schedule? I thought it was special attention to the summer analyst. So I made this beautiful Excel calendar of my schedule, 30-minute increments. Got a meeting at this time, waking up at this time, doing this at this time. Sent it to the entire deal team client, the Brian that I was actually intended for, the CEO. Boom, no response. The analyst I was working under stands up from his cubicle, starts laughing hysterically, points at me and says, bro, no one cares about your schedule. Story spread like wildfire during that summer, and therefore I don't do 30-minute increment schedules anymore, and I don't like people that have my name. Last story, the first few weeks of my full-time career, we were doing some training and we were late night working together as an analyst class. Story's kind of twofold. We got our computers and we had a little piece of paper that was taped to the computer that told us our login in case we forgot. Been quite nervous that day, and I'm also just a sweater in general. And by sweater, I don't mean a sweater, but I sweat a lot, so I'm a person that sweats. And as I was typing, I noticed that I erased the piece of paper's ink with my password on it with my palm sweat. And then I locked the computer, and then I realized I forgot the password. So I'm exiting the room that we were in to go to IT to ask for a password reset. And then I run into one of the big boys of the company. I'm talking C-class, high-level person, very friendly person. And he looks at me. I have a name tag on because all the analysts at the time were getting introduced, so we were holding name tags. And he looks at me and he pulls out his hand. My hand is sweaty. I shake the hand. Clearly, he recognizes that my hand is sweaty. He pulls back kind of fast, looks me in the eye, and he goes, how are you doing, Brian? After looking at my name tag, I am nervous. My palms are sweaty. Mom spaghetti. I look back at him, and right after he says, how are you doing, Brian? I don't say, how are you? I don't say, great, and you? I go, my name is Brian. And there's this awkward silence, and he just kind of smiles and walks away. I'm sure he doesn't remember. If you're watching this, I do remember. Guess a lot of my stories just have to do with my name and me screwing that up. I hope you guys enjoyed my 5 stories and somewhat got a laugh out of it. If you didn't, I think I kind of did, / now I feel like I was very unprofessional during the beginning phases of my career. If you guys have any funny stories from your careers, let me know. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Let's go.